The Bible is a very interesting book. It speaks about so many things that happened in the past years and they're still happening in these present years. And at some point, they will happen in the future. Remember where we are. To some people back in the years, we were the future. But we came to a place whereby right now there are things we can see and we can perceive these things. And it is for us to take precaution so that we can be able to understand how things function. When you get into the Bible, you get to see that there were these sons of Issachar. They were of noble character. And what do I mean with that? They knew how to read the times and the seasons, and they could determine how everything will be. And I want you to understand one thing, that we are living in a world whereby there are people that know how things will be in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And we are still living in a world where there are people who determine how things will be. And it is quite unfortunate. The majority of the people that are losing out are the ones that are living in poverty. What do I mean living in poverty? Because poverty is not determined by lack of money, lack of material possessions. Poverty is determined by lack of knowledge. The Bible puts it very clearly and it tells us, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And I want us to understand one thing, my dear brothers and sisters, that the future belongs to them that are willing to learn how everything will be. And it is quite unfortunate I get to see, especially those people who are so religious, those who try to disapprove how technology is growing and how it is becoming. And you get to see that they are fighting it because they don't want to grasp the realities that are so in this world. My dear brothers, if we do not learn, we do not get it right. You know what they say? What you don't know doesn't kill you. But I want you to understand one thing. Whatever you don't know, whatever you don't learn, will eventually destroy you. It is for you to take advantage of how everything is going, be it in technology, be it in how the system runs everything. You need to be knowledgeable about it, because knowledge is a powerful tool that the elite don't want you to get into it. They want people to still continue being in poverty, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom. And that is how they control the mass. My dear brothers and sisters, it is only the awakened that will be fought every other day. It is only the people that come to the truth that the system will try to silence, because they know that this one is becoming knowledgeable to these things. And these very things, we don't want them to be exposed. Because what you don't know is their business. What you don't know is where they become, they flourish and their businesses become great and all that. Why? Because you don't know. And what do? Now they come with institutions, they come with companies, they come with strategies and systems whereby they want you to be a part of it by working. They want you to work for them. And I want you to deconstruct that ideology. We were not created and put here on earth just to work based on employment. Do you know why you keep on crying every day and you keep on fighting every day to be somewhere in life, but things are not working out? It is because your mind was controlled. Your mind was put in a place to think that employment is the only way to do it right. Let me give you a very good example. There was a research that was done, and these people took it upon themselves. They did put some few monkeys in a room, and they closed the door of that very place. And up somewhere, they did put some bananas. And what the researchers did, when the monkeys became hungry, they decided to send the monkeys up so that they can go and take the bananas. But when these monkeys decided to go up, what they did, they poured water, cold water, to these monkeys. So they were unable to reach the bananas. So they decided that they're going to allow a new monkey to come into that room. A monkey that was not even aware of the cold water that was being poured. So the other monkeys, what they did, they tried the level best to get the bananas, but it was impossible. So these monkeys got used to the idea of they can't reach the bananas, and they lived aimlessly without a plan. So the new monkey came on board, and then this new monkey now was fighting to get the banana. But these other monkeys pulled him back. My dear brothers and sisters, that is what the system does. It puts strategies and allows you to be in a place whereby you cannot really get what you want, because it wants you to be somewhere you can be controlled. And it is quite unfortunate. And in this moment, I want to reveal, based on the scriptures, how the systems control people, so that you can be able to see the intents of the scriptures, so that you can get to also realize that whatever even Christ came to do to humanity, it was all about bringing us to salvation. And this salvation was not about coming from bad character. It was not coming from situations that were not right. It was all about transforming our minds and bringing us to the reality of who we're supposed to be. Apostle Paul puts it much better. Do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It is all about renewing your mind, changing your way of thinking, developing an attitude that will direct you to a place whereby you will say, for sure, I am no longer a slave. Back in the years in America, this one president announced freedom to the black people. And most black people chose not to be free. But a few decided that they're going to be free, despite them having nowhere to go and having nothing to do. So statistics display that the few that chose to go out today, that the people that so many people talk about, they are the greatest of all time. But those that chose to be slaves, even their generations, are still in poverty. My dear brother and sister, in the next 2 years or 3 years, you don't want to be in the same position. There are things that you need to do. And I'm going to read a verse in the book of Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, pseudo-intellectual babble, according to the tradition and musings of mere men, following the elementary principles of this world, rather than following the truth, the teachings of Christ. So we get to see that the world has a lot of information. But it is quite unfortunate that we still focus on what the world is trying to display to us. So what is this truth that Jesus was preaching about? Like I said earlier, the greatest salvation was our minds being transformed. That is where salvation begins. And I want you to understand one thing. When your mind has been transformed, when your way of thinking has been developed, I tell you for real, there are certain things that will begin to fall off. You will not be manipulated by religious institutions, government institutions, political systems. You will not. Because you now understand how protocols are done. So, whatever Jesus came to do was to reveal the identity of who we are. And that here on this earth, we are supposed to live as per how God intended from beginning. Go and multiply. It was not about losing ourselves. It was about engaging with what the world has so that we can be able now to better ourselves. But systems came on board because there are those who wanted to be wealthier than the others because of greed and all that. And that is why we are having, countries like here in Africa suffering and struggling to become. Why? Because we are still following how other systems are functioning. Some of us African countries, we are still under colonization. We are still under slavery. And I think it is important for us now to awaken our inner being so that we can be able to have a strategy that will enable us to focus on what is productive. And I think the awakening, it is all about coming to the truth. And the truth that Jesus brought to humanity was that people can be awakened. People can come out from situations that were still putting them under, slavery, under certain kinds of teachings that were manipulating them. When you study the books of the law, when you study all the historical books, you get to see metaphorical, figurative speeches, and all these things, most of them, they were not bringing the light and the order of God into humanity. And it is quite unfortunate. So systems were created. Just remember like what happened the other time in around 2021. The whole world was facing, a pandemic, and so many people were, in a prison. They did not understand how everything should be. But at the end of the day, only a few who did not choose to partake of what that situation demanded, most of us, we are living a life of purpose. So human systems can take people captive mentally and also spiritually. So let me go to the book of Mark chapter 7, verse 7 through to verse number 8. They worship me in vain because they teach as doctrines, the precepts of men, neglecting the commandment of God. You hold to the tradition of men. So religion itself can become controlling system when human traditions replace truth. My dear brothers and sisters, it is very important to take control of how you think. Do not allow other people. Now we get to see the book of Mark teaching us that these people, they worship me in vain. We say religious institutions, what do? They lie to us. They lie to us and they teach us and they, try to make us think that the only way we can become is to follow protocols, determine ways that are not right. And that is why, my dear brothers, every other time, the other day I was just sharing with some few brothers and sisters and telling them that the seed that you need to give for God to bless you is a lie. I also did a video for that. And I want you to understand once again, dear brothers, with what the book of Mark chapter 7, verse 7 to 8 says, that, because they teach as doctrines the precepts of men, neglecting the commandment of God, you hold to the traditions of men. Because of your traditions, you have made the gospel of Christ to have no effect. Quite unfortunate. And that is why the truth that Jesus was bringing to us has not been revealed. I know this is one kind of a message most of you are wondering how it is coming. I'm not here to reveal to you that you need to be blessed financially. I'm not here to preach that kind of a message. You need to tap into the marketplace. You need to get your best foot forward so that you can be able to experience, the blessing thereof. Because, my dear brothers, I want to tell you, you're already blessed. The blessing is within you. The other day I was studying the word blessed, and I understood that blessed simply means you are empowered to become. So, whatever you choose, whatever you desire, you are already empowered to become. Let me go in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, and verse 12 as I conclude. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, contending only with physical opponents, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly, supernatural places. Brothers and sisters, there is a war, and that very war is trying to deviate our attention to what is true and definite. We were created for this moment to experience the power of God. We were created in this moment now to capture the reality of God. But you know how the system functions, how the deceptive acts of this world is doing things. It is because they don't want you to come to the truth. And when people come out and they want to demonstrate, they use the weapons of destruction. They use their guns. They use their, they take young people and call them soldiers and armies and military because they know these are the kinds of people that we are going to use to take advantage of these other people because they thrive because we don't know. So today I'm here to let you understand, my dear brother, you were born in this time not to just lazy up, but to come to the knowledge of truth, but to understand what is supposed to be done. So behind many corrupt systems are spiritual influences of control and darkness. In conclusion, Galatians chapter 5 and verse 1. It was for this freedom that Christ set us free, completely liberating us. Therefore, keep standing firm and do not be subject again to a yoke of slavery, which you once removed. Christ came to free people from bondage, religious, spiritual, and oppressive systems. My brother, what are you doing? You need to be free. And you need to walk in that freedom because Christ came to set us free, and we are free indeed in Him. Until next time, God bless you.